Hello. Happy Friday, everyone. I can't see who's here yet. Hello. Hi, Liberty Ninja and Lance and Glenn. How is everyone? Per usual, I will wait a minute to let people join, whoever is joining today. Doing great. Great, almost barbecue time. My family is actually having a cookout this weekend. We were going to do it for Mother's Day, but Mother's Day for my mom and my aunt. But Mother's Day was really, the weather was terrible. It was cold and rainy all day. And we wanted to do a cookout outside. So we're doing that on Sunday. And also, my geese still have not returned. I think someone said in the chat yesterday that they're flying north. So they probably continue to go north. Okay, I have a fun question while we're waiting. I actually saw this. I'll read you some of the comments, but you can also comment in the chat if you want to. Good. I hope they were deported. No, I wanted a million geese. I know they poop though. That's probably not. That probably wouldn't be very pleasant. So this was a question asked on Twitter, and I'll read you some of the responses, but I would be curious your response. And the question was, on day one of Republicans taking control of the Senate and House, what's the first thing you would want to see Republicans do? I know my answer. I've seen it in here a lot. My answer would be immigration and producing oil. Yeah, border. A lot of people have said that. Yeah, a lot of people say oil and border. Someone said act like Republicans. Drill, baby, drill. Oh, here we go. Here is an actual, this person gave the answer some thought. Number one, comprehensive immigration reform. Two, Energy Independence Act. Three, crime bill. That's a pretty good one. Hello, Zach. Hi, Justin. Someone said, stop the handouts on my tax dollars. Pass a bill opening up gas fracking leases, remove the federal gas tax. You know, I think in California, which has some of the highest gas prices, they actually voted to somebody when gas prices were getting pretty high. I think it's close to $6 in California, probably even close to $7 at this point. They wanted to get rid of the state gas tax, and they voted against it. The politicians in California voted against getting rid of the gas tax for Californians. Impeach 46 and Kamala. I want mean tweets. I do miss him on Twitter. It was quite funny when he was on Twitter. Someone said open investigations on everyone. Everyone. Oh, and I did see my playback. I think it's a combination of StreamYard and just my poor connection where I am. It's just It just is what it is while I'm still here, and I really apologize. Thank you for everyone for sticking with me. But Eva is asleep in her bed. I'll let her say hi when she wakes up. Um, I've seen the comments where the playback on these live streams are very wonky. So I still like the live streams for the people that join on the live streams, but I'm also going to get back to I'll do it on top of what I'm already doing, but I'm also going to get back on top of making smaller, like shorter videos, like 3 to 5 minute videos, and I'll just pepper those into pre-recorded videos, by the way, because I feel bad. I think it is. It's just a combination of now I'm using live StreamYard and my connection here. Shiv Shiv Pelosi, all of them being investigated. Did you hear about the dog named Eva that fought off a mountain lion? Or is that a true story? Hello, Dennis. Is that a true story? Wait a second. Eva would not fight off a mountain lion. I'll tell you that right now. Maybe I've seen her in a cat fight. She was intimidating a feral cat in the area, a barn cat, farm cat. Oh my gosh, it's true. Why did she question you, Lance? Oh, this recently happened. Eva, the dog who fought off mountain lion and saved her owner, awarded We Rate Dogs highest honor. Eva, you would sacrifice me to mountain lions. You guys saw her with, I'll show you the video of her and the geese. It was really funny. Let's see. A bruised and battered 2.5-year-old Belgium Malinois, I don't know what kind of dog that is, who fought off a fierce attack by a mountain lion, has been given the highest honor possible from We Rate Dogs for her heroism, earning a rare 15 out of 10 points on the popular Animal Levels platform. Owner Aaron Wilson and Eva were attacked earlier this week in Northern California. Wow. And Wilson credits her pooch for saving her life. I will never be able to live up to how I will never be able to live up to how amazing and loyal she is to me. Whoa. So it did happen. It's a police dog. Oh, that it looks like a police dog. She was walking along the Trinity River when the mountain lion sprang on her. She called to Eva, who was walking ahead of her off leash, and the dog came and confronted the wild cat, which quickly overpowered her. They fought for a couple of seconds, and then I heard her start crying. Oh my gosh. Imagine watching your dog fight a mountain lion and hearing her cry and not being able to do anything. That's when the cat latched onto her skull. This is intense. Wilson hit the lion with rocks, her fists, and a tire iron she found nearby. She finally flagged down a motorist who helped her chase off the wild cat with pepper spray. So they both fought the mountain lion. Wow. Police dogs use breed smart dog. That is a crazy story. I thought you were making that up. Incredibly, it's funny, my mom, that's what she would always worry about in California are mountain lions. Because I would go hiking. I'm like, "Mom, I'm in Hollywood." But that was her fear of mountain lions. Out of all the other things that could have happened, she was afraid of mountain lions. They are, there are a lot of them in California. Eva, Okay, so we heard that harrowing story. Now let's look at Eva for a second, trying to pounce on a bunch of geese. Some of you have already seen this video. So, for those that don't know the geese situation, they're gone now. They have moved on to other things, but um, I'm out here in the country, and we started noticing geese in front of the house. First, there were two, then there were five, then there were 10, and then there were 15. And they would leave sometimes at night and then come back during the day and just hang out. And my cat, Eva, she loves to go outside. And one day she saw the geese and she was attempting to pounce on them, and they ended up scaring her. So I'll show you what happened. This is why I don't think she would ever protect me against a mountain lion. Okay, there she is, spotting them. Uh-oh. Eva in the wild. There they are in the back. You can start to see them a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
See the geese?
What is she doing? Should I get her? All right. Yeah, she's chasing them.
They're like walking away from her. They see her coming.
Wow, they're all alert.
There she goes. Oh, and she runs and hides. They scared her a lot more than she scared them. So I think if I were ever taking Eva on a walk, she does have a harness. She refuses to wear it though. Yes, they scared the crap out of her. What? See the breastfeeding mom save her pet goose from a bald eagle? Oh my goodness. No, I didn't see that one. Oh man. Anywho, I wanted to talk about there's this really interesting article in New York Magazine talking about the left's problem with disinformation, because as we know, we had that disinformation governance board that was put on pause, and the person that was supposed to be in charge of it, Nina Jankowicz, has resigned. She was actually on TV earlier today, and she was saying that it was it's odd, they all use the same word, they all use mischaracterization. So she was saying that she was attacked online and that there was actually a disinformation campaign against her, and that's why she resigned. So the disinformation governance board was paused and she resigned because of disinformation. And there's that. But this article in New York Magazine, surprisingly enough, I don't read New York Magazine a whole lot, but I read this earlier and I would like to read you some of it. But they talk about how this obsession that the left is starting to have with disinformation is actually hurting them. And the title of this is an opinion piece. It's "The Liberal Obsession with Disinformation is Not Helping." And I'll read you just a little bit of it. It says, "Disinformation was the liberal establishment's traumatic reaction to the psychic wound of 2016. It provided an answer that evaded the question altogether, protecting them from agony of self reflection, protecting them from the agony of self reflection. It wasn't that the country was riven by profound resentments born of material realities that need to be navigated by new kinds of politics. No, the problem was that large swaths of the country had been duped, brainwashed by nefarious forces, both foreign and domestic. And if only the best minds and the most credentialed experts could be given new authority to regulate the flow of fake news, the scales would fall from the eyes of the people. They would re embrace the old order they had been tricked into despising. This fantasy turned a political problem into a scientific one. The rise of Trump called not for new politics, but new technocrats. Like other pathological reactions to trauma, this disinformation neurosis tended to recreate the conditions that produced the affliction in the first place. By doubling down on the elite and the condensation toward the uneducated rubes suffering from false consciousness, liberals have tended to exacerbate the sources of populist hostility. So it's basically saying that, and I totally agree with this, a lot of this obsession with disinformation that the left has is a traumatic reaction to Trump getting elected. And basically, the population saying, we don't want anymore what you're dishing out. And that's when I started getting really interested again in politics, because I was sort of in that boat. I was in that boat that I had gotten to the point where I had gotten to the point where it doesn't matter, Democrat, Republican, it doesn't matter what the person promised on the campaign trail. It doesn't matter what they say they're for. When they get in office, they are going to work for whatever the establishment people. Nothing is ever actually going to change. I think it was Obama that was running on his campaign was something about the change. It was going to be change. And I think when Trump got elected, I didn't even vote in the 2016 election. I was tired of politics, like I just mentioned at that point. And Trump getting elected, I remember watching the election that night. Didn't vote, but still was interested to see who. I assumed, I think like everyone, that it was going to be Hillary. And when Trump was elected, I thought, oh, this is interesting. This is an upset. And that's when all this like huge emotional reaction started, and I was a little confused by it. I didn't understand it. And that's when I started getting really interested in trying to figure out what was going on and why all of these people felt this way. Minister of Truth dead faster than Build Back Better Bill. What is happening? Hello, Tim. So Nina is also saying now that this was an attack against her and misinformation was used sort of to get her out, and that this was a coordinated effect. But if you actually paid attention to the criticism of Nina herself, really all people were doing were sharing videos that she herself had posted online and repeating things that she herself had said online. Sarah, could the disinformation board be the board that Biden put in the WHO treaty? He is trying to get the UN through the WHO take over healthcare. Tucker last night mentioned the WHO vote. I hope the vote fails. Oil might go to $10 soon. I think it was used for a lot of things. It was used to combat I think in some ways what's actually happening, because what a lot of what we are seeing with our eyes is not the reality of what's happening. And a lot of the I'm trying to be careful. My video was privated yesterday by YouTube. So I'm just trying to be really careful what I say. They understand that not so flattering images, I think, are coming out because one of the things that they mentioned with this board is that they wanted to combat misinformation about the border, which I don't even understand why they would bring that up. And my question is, do you not want people to know what's happening on the border? Because you're telling us it's under control, but the images coming from the journalists that are on the border are quite different than what you're telling us. So is that what you're trying to control? And a really good point that was made in this article was what happens in 2 more years if Trump is the president? Now he controls this disinformation governance board. Do all of the leftists want, what would a leftist think if this started when Trump was in office? Some of the biggest purveyors of misinformation have been the people that want to control sorry, I'm saying misinformation, disinformation interchangeably. Is it different? I don't know. Well, and it's really interesting because we have a First Amendment, which is free speech. You're allowed to have an opinion. You are allowed to criticize a government. And the people who drafted the Constitution, they did it to protect citizens from an overreaching government. That's why it was created. I don't think this will ever fully. They might try to sneak something in there, not in the Constitution, but they might try to sneak in some policies. But I don't think they expected the backlash that they got from this announcement. And yes, the Constitution was created to protect private citizens from government overreach. That is why when Joe Biden signs an executive order, it doesn't apply to private citizens. It only applies to government agencies. A really good example of that is when Joe Biden did the mask mandate on federal agencies, on federal buildings, and things like that. A lot of people were saying, why did he only do it on federal buildings? Because you can't do that to private citizens. So if our government is now saying, well, now we're going to control your speech, which basically a misinformation is, because who decides what is disinformation or misinformation? And the thing with Nina Jankowicz, she's trying to say, let me see if I can find her words exactly. But the thing with Nina is she's saying that people spread falsehoods. Now she's basically doing it again. Here she is again not being super honest about the criticism that she received. So she said today, let me find it for you. I'm sorry. Actually didn't think I was going to talk about her too much. I can't pull it up for you, but she basically said today that this was a concerted effort against her, an attack on her. And this was literally just people sharing her own words. So here she is again. This was the person that was going to be in control of this governance board, who again is misrepresenting what actually happened. It wasn't, I do not condone if anyone's going after someone in a way like threatening. That's obviously not okay. No one that I follow or have seen has done that. But here she is mischaracterizing the criticism of her. The criticism of her was that, hey, you called the Hunter Biden laptop a Russian hoax. You said all of these things that are not true. You have clearly painted yourself online from your own words as someone who seems to be super partisan, and now you're going to be in control of information. That was her criticism. It wasn't um, slander or anything of that nature. But that's what she is now saying online, which, in my opinion, just furthers my idea that she's probably not fit for the job. Happy Friday. So it goes on to say, on Wednesday, the Washington Post's Taylor Lorenz reported on the disastrous rollout of the Department of Homeland Security's Disinformation Governance Board, announced on April 27th with a lazy remit to coordinate countering misinformation related to Homeland Security. The initiative generated immediate fierce backlash from conservative pundits and politicians who compared it to the Ministry of Truth in George Orwell's 1984. The expert tapped to lead the board, Nina Jankowicz, faced a wave of ferocious, viral, and often personal attacks online, as well as scrutiny over her past statements, seeming to betray her partisan sympathies. Now, with just 3 weeks later, the governance board is no more, and Jankowicz has resigned. According to Lorenz and her sources, so this is, if you don't know who Taylor Lorenz, she is a very, very liberal leftist, if you will. According to Lorenz and her sources, Jankowicz was taken down by the very forces she dedicated her career to combating and was undermined by a flat-footed, timid response from the Biden White House. The campaign against Jankowicz and the board, Lorenz writes, was a prime example of how the right-wing internet apparatus operates, where far-right influencers attempt to identify a target, present a narrative, and then repeat mischaracterizations across social media websites with the aim of discrediting and attacking anyone who seeks to challenge them. In other words, the Disinformation Governance Board was undone by a textbook disinformation campaign. And that's how they're characterizing the criticism of Nina. When in all reality, most of the criticism were people that were just sharing things that Nina herself had posted online and were very public. The version of the story is richly ironic and tragic. As one Hill staffer told Lorenz, Nina's role was to come up with strategies for the department to counter this type of campaign, and now they've just succumbed to it themselves. That is the irony in all of this. But from another perspective, the right's campaign against the Disinformation Board resembled any other successful advocacy efforts to halt a government initiative. As with most activist endeavors, some of the facts were fudged, innocuous statements were deprived of context and interpreted. Those in charge were depicted as cartoonish villains, and a more complex story was reduced to a fairy tale struggle between the forces of good and evil. Not great, but when it comes to political messaging in our polarized age, par for the course. I can recall quite a bit of this simplification happening during the Trump years. See, at least the person writing this is quite diplomatic Even liberal Bill Maher spoke out against it. Absolutely. And where did she say this? So she highlighted a quote that somebody made, and this is exactly why Bill Maher criticized it as well. It is not clear to me that Democrats have fully reckoned with the non negligible possibility that Donald Trump is in charge of the new Disinformation Governance Board in 2 years. That's why even liberals shouldn't be on board with something like this. She said, obviously, I sympathize with Jankowicz. No doubt she faced an astronomical volume of right wing nastiness, dishonest attacks on her reputation, and genuinely disturbing threats. And obviously, if the latter is true, that's very wrong. But valid criticism is okay to do. And what I saw was a lot of valid criticism. Could there have been other things, nastiness and threats? Yes, and that is absolutely not okay. I'm sure the administration could have done more to isolate her from the backlash, but other than that, I don't see how a fully operational governance board could have prevented this outcome, except via the very means conservatives feared it would possess. If, as Lorenz is careful to note, neither the board nor Jankowicz had any power or ability to declare what is true or false, or compel internet providers, social media platforms, or public schools to take action against certain types of speech, then how would it have prevented right wingers from tweeting terrible, dishonest things about Jankowicz? Lorenz reporting seems to arrive at a catch 22. The right's campaign to depict Jankowicz as a government censor amounts to disinformation only if she and the DHS were indeed helpless to stop it. She said, and the truth is, I think it's important for smart people to analyze the ways in which architecture of social media facilitates, incentivizes, and hunts and the dissemination of hateful, dishonest content. And the government likely has a role in play in coercing tech platforms to prioritize the public interest over profit motive and crafting their algorithms. But I don't think it requires any great leap of conspiratorial thinking to find fault with a disinformation governance board under the DHS. And she also says whoever resides in the White House are professional liars. They lie laughingly in the interest of national security, sheepishly in the interest of saving face, and passionately when it comes to their job. Would Jankowicz's office have been empowered to counter disinformation coming from her own department, or only from those criticizing it? And what would its remit have been under the next Republican presidency? And that is a very good point. That's why this whole thing is a problem. We know it is no secret, and it has never been a secret, even to the most ignorant when it comes to politics, that politicians lie. They lie to get elected, they lie when they're in office to save face, they lie because they want to keep their jobs. They have incentive to lie and to be dishonest. So is the governance board also going to investigate them, or just the people that speak out against them? And I really liked that article. I thought it was a really good think piece. And New York Magazine, in my opinion, is typically very liberal, but this is the correct liberal opinion to have on a governance board that could possibly censor ideas. Who is it going to censor and critique and investigate, and why, and who decides? The politicians that lie to get elected, and they all do. Republicans, Democrats, everybody does it. Rules for radical. But she also points out in the article that this obsession with disinformation, we talked about earlier, came from the trauma of Trump getting elected. And all of a sudden, the insiders are on the outside and they don't like that. And they could not reckon with the fact that the general public is not liking what they're putting out and it might not be working anymore. They had that whole disinformation conference in Chicago at a university. Obama used Saul's handbook as a template on how to infiltrate and take control. Doreen. Oh, Durham. Anyway, I thought that was rather interesting. Taylor Lorenz, by the way, is the one. That's who she was quoting from Taylor Lorenz's article. She is the one that attempted to dox libs of TikTok. Or in my opinion, I don't know that for sure, but she posted or she did an article. It was supposed to be like an expose. Who is the person behind libs of TikTok? And ended up posting very personal information about her that you wouldn't think would be appropriate to post. Lorenz is super creepy. I wouldn't let her pet my cat. So this is pretty funny too. Netflix is having a big reckoning. So they're also dropping a bunch of projects, which is really interesting. Netflix has pulled the plug on Dr. Ibram X. Kendi's show Anti R Word Baby, along with several other proposed offerings that would present a nod or a total body immersion experience to woke culture. According to a report from Variety, Kendi's Anti Baby, which was aimed at preschoolers, was one of the animated shows to get the axe. The others were Anna DuVernay. I don't know how to say her name. Her produced Wings of Fire series and a film titled With Kind Regards from Kindergarten. The streaming service also canned another Kendi project. So Kendi is he's one of those in my opinion, he uses race a lot. He's very into race, if you know what I mean. Obama's contract with Netflix was not renewed. I think you might be referring to Spotify, unless they also had a contract with Netflix. I didn't know about that, but I do know that their Spotify was not renewed. The streaming service also canned another Kendi project, Stamped, which was intended to be a companion piece to Kendi's Stamped from the Beginning. The latter, according to Variety, is in post-production, and it is described as a hybrid documentary and scripted feature that delves into race in the United States. Despite the drop-off in revenue growth that cost 150 primarily US-based employees lose their job this past week, 150 employees from Netflix lost her job because of a drop-off in their revenue growth. That's pretty insane. Sources at Netflix told Variety that the decision to cancel these projects was not financially motivated. The decisions to not move forward with these projects were creative rather than cost related, meaning they would have taken place regardless of the company's slower revenue growth. In addition, Netflix recently announced that it was canceling a planned feminist animated series from an actress turned exiled royal, Meghan Markle. Darn. The series was supposed to revolve around a 12-year-old girl on a journey of self discovery, inspired by the legacy of famous women in history. The executive producer on this series, which was being created through Markle's and hubby Prince Harry's Archwell Productions, was Elton John's husband, David Furnish. Huh? Someone said, thank goodness for small miracles. Netflix just canned Meghan Markle's planned kitty cartoon series. The announcement came from the heels of a statement from Netflix executives to the streaming service's employees, warning them that the company may choose to invest in projects not everyone agrees with. So this is a piece from, not only are they slowing in revenue growth, had to lay off 150 employees, they canceled these shows, and this was a part of a letter that went out to their employees. And a lot of this came in the wake of Dave Chappelle. A lot of people that worked for Netflix were very upset at the Dave Chappelle special because he made trans jokes and they viewed them as being phobic. So they organized a walkout, went nuts over social media. Someone even leaked information regarding how much Dave Chappelle got paid or something along those lines. So Netflix responded by sending this letter out to employees, and it said, entertaining the world is an amazing opportunity and also a challenge because viewers have very different tastes and points of view. So we offer a wide variety of TV shows and movies, some of which can be provocative. We support the artistic expression of creators we choose to work with. We let viewers decide what's appropriate for them versus having Netflix censor specific artists or voices. If you find it hard to support our content breadth, Netflix may not be the best place for you. I find that very refreshing. I'm curious to know what Meghan Markle's feminist cartoon for 12-year-old about a 12-year-old was. I actually auditioned for something. I can't tell you what it is, but I was auditioning for a voiceover role for, I don't know if it was an animated series or an animated movie, but it is Spotify. They dropped the Obamas. Yes. It was a very popular female character for young girls. It has been very popular for a long time. They were doing like a new movie or new TV show, don't remember. And I was so excited to read for it. And then I get the script and I'm reading the script, and they made this character who has never had any stance on activism, no political stance, who has never been a political or activist type character ever, was just a fun character for girls. I'm reading the script and there are some feminist things injected in there. Some, I don't need a man. And it made me very sad. I think I sent in that audition, but it made me very sad because, I think you want to teach girls to be strong and brave and smart. But I just feel like that whole, yes, queen, you don't need a man. I think that is very toxic and very damaging to teach to young girls. And it just felt cringy even reading it. It felt like something I didn't want to be a part of. Which thankfully I never heard back from that one. But it just took a character that never had that kind of stance and made it into something that I personally didn't agree with, and something that I feel is damaging to young girls, that messaging. I think it's better for young girls to show them what a healthy relationship is, and that there can be good men and bad men. There can be good women and bad and Teach girls to be ladies and respect themselves. Exactly. Teach girls to be ladies and respect themselves. Teach them what a healthy relationship is. And yes, you do have to leave someone if you are in an unhealthy relationship or an unhealthy situation. But I just think that's so damaging for girls to hear at a young age. And I think everybody should want to strive to be in a healthy relationship. That's what I mean. Life is so much better and more beautiful when you have a partner in life and you have a nice, healthy relationship. And I feel like young girls get taught this feminist lie that, like, you don't need no man. You can do everything a man can do and better. Um, I think that can end up being quite damaging. Their version of feminism doesn't raise women, it reduces men to cartoon versions. Yeah, and it says bad things about men. It puts this idea in your head. I've had friends that have done this before, but it puts this idea in your head that men are bad, that no man is going to treat you right, that men are always going to be bad, they're always going to misbehave. It sticks that in your head, and they don't always come right out and say that, but it's just like an insidious little idea that I feel like gets put in girls' heads when they're young. And this is one of my a lot of feminists criticize Disney movies, like the older Disney movies, like Cinderella and Little Mermaid was one of them. Those are just two off the top of my head. Snow White. A lot of feminists will criticize those movies because at the end, the woman always falls in love, and they always say it's the man that's rescuing her, and that's a damaging message for young girls. And I think no, it's not. It's the same as a romantic comedy. You watch a romantic comedy, even action films have this too. There's always a love interest and the two people fall in love at the end. That happens in a lot of movies, not just Disney movies. And I think that's a healthy thing. That is a happy ending. A man and a woman falling in love and finding a good partner. I don't think there's anything wrong with striving for that. And I hate when they tell women that it's not feminist or it's damaging to strive for that. No, I think it's good for young men and young women to be taught to strive to have a healthy relationship. Yeah, the messaging it tells women to be strong, and it tells them that all men are jerks. Love is a lovely thing, and I think that young people need to be taught that. I don't like when they're taught to whether it's and you know what? There is a dissident right. Like there are extremists on the right, and they basically teach men not to respect women, or like they don't need it's sort of the same as the toxic femininity. There is a toxic right where they teach men not to value women essentially, but both of those messages are so damaging. You should be teaching to value each other and to seek people that treat you right and value themselves. Yeah, and Glenn makes the point men and women have different skill sets. And that's very true. And what feminism does is it tells you to devalue your natural skills or your natural instincts as a woman, that nurturing instinct, um, maybe wanting to stay home with your kids. They teach you to devalue those things, and you're going against yourself and your biology. And I think when you go against yourself and your biology, it creates sort of like a disconnect within you. And there's just something in you that doesn't feel right, and you don't feel right, and you don't yeah, yin and yang, it goes together beautifully. Um, it's like you're going against nature, and it doesn't feel right. And I think when you're taught this feminist crap, you have that feeling inside of you, you're like, something doesn't feel right. I don't feel happy, but I don't know why, because I'm listening to the message of I'm listening to what's being fed to me. I think that's why you see a lot of feminists that don't look happy. A lot of them look angry. Yeah, I've seen a lot of those like alpha male, like YouTube. Yeah, and that's going to create happiness with boys too. I think it's an admirable thing to have a life goal of finding a partner and having that partner be someone that loves and respects you. That's why it makes me mad. But this started like a long time ago where I would hear women say, "We're not going to have Disney movies in my home. My daughter's not going to watch Disney movies because they see it as the man always rescues the woman." I don't see that at all. Regular gas price check. Oh, ours I filled up yesterday. It's where I am right now. It's 4.50. In rural Virginia, it is 4.50. That's so interesting too. I never thought about that before when all this criticism against against Disney movies by the feminists. Literally tell me if I'm wrong, but almost every single movie category besides like horror films, but even some horror films, at the end the a man and a woman fall in love. A lot of action movies, there's usually always a love interest, and at the end they fall in love, whether the protagonist is a man or a woman. Disney is crap. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Disney right now, but I do have to say I still loved the movies growing up, and I don't think that that messaging was bad for young girls. The older Disney movies. Hate Disney. Everyone hates Disney. Terminator. Well, they fell in love at the end, right? Wait, was there love at the end of Terminator? Hard to find a movie without a love interest. Yes, because that is the ultimate goal of most people, is to fall in love, and there is nothing wrong with that. Back in the 90s, maybe. What about Bob? That's a great movie. Not always. I've seen many horrors where there is no love at the end, just a sense of thankful to survive. Yeah, I think horror movies are probably the one genre where there's not a big love interest. Yeah, Lance, I agree. That's my beef with Disney. I also don't like what they did to Gina Carano and Johnny Depp. I have traveled through time to be with you, Sarah Connor. Ooh, there's another lead named Sarah. We were talking about, well, I was talking about movies where the lead's name is Sarah. I started that conversation. Sarah Connor. Okay, my sister was obsessed with Terminator 2. She watched it so many times. She was in love with Eddie Furlong, who is the young kid in the movie. And we watched it so many times that I would have nightmares that the robots from the future, I would have nightmares that those robots were coming in my bedroom window. I had this huge bedroom window, and they would like bust in my bedroom window. I had those nightmares several times. I've seen that movie so many times. Sarah Marshall. Ha! Another movie. Her and I actually look alike too. I used to get we kind of look different now. So forgetting Sarah Marshall, by the way, that is such a good movie. It's so funny. The lead in that is Kristen Bell. And I feel like as we both got older, we don't look exactly alike anymore, but we used to look very similar. Also, Kristen Bell and I are the exact same height. We're both 5'1". And people used to call me Sarah Marshall. Thank you. I wish I could find I don't think I have it, but I actually have. There was a point in time where I guess maybe I had more weight on me or something, but my face was just a lot rounder. Her face is rounder than mine, and her and I had this same exact haircut. And I have a headshot during that time, one of my acting headshots. I look just like her. I can't pull it up right now. Darn, wait, maybe I can. Can I pull it up? Let's see. Eddie Furlong was not an actor. Huh? Yes, he was. Edward Furlong. He was an actor. The Happy Time Murders. What's the Happy Time Murders? Oh, oh. I think I can find my Kristen Bell. A Dirty Muppets movie. You're going to see me from a long time ago. Oh my gosh. Okay, where's my Kristen Bell? Muppets Take Manhattan. See, I looked like Kristen Bell. Hold on, I see if I can find a different one. Yeah, I look a lot like her there. But at that time, what made me look even more like her, oh yeah. What made me look even more like her is the fact that at that time, she had this exact same haircut. And I lived, and when I first moved to Los Angeles, I met someone that worked for a studio. She worked on set. She was a part of the crew, and she worked with Kristen Bell, and she actually took a picture of me, and she's like, I have to show her if I see her. Yes, Veronica Mars. I hope you are signing autographs. That would be hilarious. I should have done that. Why not? Have fun with it. I did. I actually got mistaken for her once when I was on a plane, but I was like, dude, I'm in coach. I should have signed autographs. Sometime Sometimes if I was walking around Los Angeles, I would like put a hat on and then try to walk around like this so people would think you were someone famous. It's 5 a.m. in Sydney. You're up early. My uncle looks exactly like the guy who played Inigo Montoya in The Princess Bride. He signs autographs and takes pictures with strangers. That is awesome. I got mistaken for Sean Collins several times a few years back. I signed. Oh, kidding. Wait, The Princess Bride is your favorite movie? I need to see it. My computer might turn off. Oh, we're at 11%. We're fine. Actually, hold on one second. I'm going to go get the screen's going to go black for just a second. I'm going to get my cord. Hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I had to plug in my computer so it doesn't die. My favorite movie of all time, geez, I don't know. You know what movie I love? It is such a good movie. It's a silly comedy, but it's one of my I've probably seen it more than any other movie. It's called Death Becomes Her. It has Meryl Streep, Goldie Hawn, Bruce Willis, and it's about this aging actress in Hollywood. It's a dark comedy and the lengths that she goes to stay young and relevant. Sorry, I had to leave. Sisters and female cousins watched The Princess Bride, but we guys watched Highlander. Yes, great flick, still holds up. Yeah, it's so funny. So they take so these women, they end up taking this potion that lets you look young basically forever, but also you live forever. You don't die. You just live forever. And these two women that took it, they're like arch enemies and they end up fighting with each other. They accidentally, well, they don't accidentally, they unalive each other and then basically have to live together and take care of each other for eternity. Princess Bride, Bone Tomahawk, Mean Girls. Oh, Mean Girls is really good. You know what? That was there, especially in the 80s, there were so many good teen movies. 16 Candles was a really good movie. The Breakfast Club. There were all these great teen movies. And I feel like, unless you know of a different one, I feel like the last like great teen movie was Mean Girls. Pretty in Pink, that was a great one. I loved 16 Candles. Those were all John Hughes movies, yeah. And they were all in Chicago too, weren't they? They were filmed in Chicago. The Last Duel. No, I haven't seen that. Leah Tom what? Hold on. Oh, Leah Thompson. That's pretty cool. She was Oh, she had some good movies. She was in The Little Rascals. Oh, she was in good movies. Howard the Duck. Uncle Buck. Yeah, those were good movies. Some Kind of Wonderful. That was a teen movie. Oh, she was in Little Women too. Back to the Future was good. Howard the Duck. I haven't seen that in 30 years. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That was a good one. Election was a good one. Oh, yes. Fast Times at Ridgemont High. They just don't make them like they used to. Oh my gosh, I saw Porky's. I've seen that movie. Howard the Duck, that was the worst movie ever. I can't remember thinking it was good or bad. I think I saw that when I was really, really little. Oh, The Woman in Red. And they don't really make romantic comedies like they used to. It's all, and if you look at the highest grossing films, it's all like it's Star Wars and like all the like Marvel movies, DC movies. And I think that's why a lot of like the romantic comedies kind of they just don't make them as much as they do because all the top grossing movies are all like the superhero franchises. Clueless, that is a classic. Clueless is such a great movie. All right, you all, I think it's time for me to go. Thank you for joining. That was fun. Howard the Duck is a parody of sci-fi. However old I was when I watched that, I don't think I probably knew what a parody was. I actually thought when I was younger, I saw do you remember that movie Spaceballs? It was Pretty Woman. That is a really good movie. That movie Spaceballs, it's a parody of Star Wars. I thought that was Star Wars. I watched Spaceballs. I think I caught it on TV or something. I actually for a while thought that that was Star Wars. All right, bye everyone. Thank you for joining the live stream. That was fun. I'll see you later. I'll tell Eva you said goodbye. She is sleeping. Yes, please hit the like button. Everyone have a really good weekend. May the Swartz be with you. Did I say that right? Swartz. Teen Wolf. All right, bye everyone. Eva is not the UFC champion. See you later. Have a good weekend.